The costumes blow my mind.
Yeah.
But it's also that there's this mass of people and it just seems to move like a river, like everything seems to flow.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Really? That has not been my experience yet, although I have met people who have been locked on the breezeway for half an hour at a time between hotels. That little...
Yeah, the habit trail.
Yeah.
We have one over here.
It is Zelenka.
Okay. Just Dr. Zelenka, do you realize what a sex symbol you are? First of all, I want to... That just has to be said. No, shallow question. Sam Carter, who would you have liked to have ended up with at the end of Stargate?
Well, given the first part of this question,
You just made my answer far more difficult.
Alan from Revisions, I think.
The obvious answer, of course, for Sam is Jack. And I don't think I would have minded playing out those beats either. The less obvious answer would be, Teal'c. So we'll go with Jack, shall we?
Hi, this is a question for all three of you. How did you get started in acting? And then following up, how was your audition for the Stargate series? And what was that involved?
Amanda?
Okay. I got started in acting out of the womb. No, I remember my first professional play was a show called The Lion in Winter. And my father actually took me to the audition because he knew how desperately I wanted to be an actor. And I think I was 17 or 18, and he said, I'm going to take you to this audition, and you'll see what it's really like out there in the real world. The hope being, of course, that I wouldn't get the part, and I'd feel the rejection, and I would give up this crazy notion of being an actor. And 2 days later, I got the phone call that I got the part. And I was skipping around the kitchen while my father, head in hands, went, baby step. So that's really my first professional gig, and then I went to theater school and did a bunch of commercials and smaller parts on TV shows and slowly built up. And then so when I auditioned for Stargate, I auditioned in Toronto, and I put myself on tape with a casting director with hundreds and hundreds of other women, and walked out of there for the first time ever not worrying about the audition because I thought it's going to go to an American. I'm not going to get this part, so let that one go. And then shortly thereafter, I got told that I was like one of 8 in North America who had been whittled down to, and could I send a demo reel and any other materials on myself. So I did, and then it was down to 3 of us. And I was flown to Los Angeles, put up in this incredibly fancy hotel in Santa Monica, met Michael Shanks, and crazy, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard this story before, but there was like 3 women for Sam Carter, 3 Daniels, a couple of Teal'cs, a couple of General Hammonds. They had us all in the room together. Just at MGM. It was this crazy environment, so we're all kind of like, hey. And then we all went in and auditioned, and then they said, if we read your name, thank you so much for coming, but we won't be needing you any further today, and if we don't read your name, please stick around. So of course you're sitting there, please don't say my name, please don't say my name. And then the casting director reads out all these names, and then these people shuffle off, and you're sitting there, and I was like, did you hear my name? Did you hear my name? I didn't hear your name. All panicked. But interestingly, at that audition, Nykl and Christopher and I started to hang out. We were sitting in this crazy waiting room, and the 3 of us just got to talking, and I was the last person to go in on the second round of auditions, and it was for MGM and Showtime, which was the network at the time, on stage with Richard Dean Anderson. It was like a play, I'm making this story way too long, and I apologize, but it was cool. So we did all these scenes, and after the first round, Brad Wright came out to me and he said, "You're really funny. What you're doing in between the scenes where you're joking around with Richard, keep doing that." So I was like, okay, great. So we did this whole audition thing again, did all the scenes, and then at the end they said, "Could we have you two stand beside each other?" And Rick, you know, I'm like, and Rick put his arm around me. So I was like, put my arm around his waist, and to this sea of black, like you couldn't see any of the people in the audience because they blackened the entire audience. And I said, "So is this like the swimsuit part of the competition?" And then they said, "Thank you very much." So I was like, and Michael, bless his heart, waited for me, and the two of us took a cab back to the hotel together. And we're in the lobby, we gave each other a hug and said, "Hey, hopefully we'll see you in Vancouver." "Yeah, okay, see you later." And then the rest, as they say, yeah, so it was pretty crazy. But I was the last person to find out that I got the part. I think it was, the producers wanted me and the network, or the studio wanted someone else. It was this big fight. I went, phew. That's all I can say. David?
Amanda? Atlantis was already shot its pilot. I wasn't in the pilot. They brought me into an episode called 38 Minutes, which I think was the second or third one. And they were looking for a Russian doctor, Dr. Karpov, which was on the breakdown. And I came into the room. It was the casting trailers at the bridge, those ADCO trailers there. And there's just a bunch of big burly Russian guys there, and me. It was the scene where I'm with Weir and I'm saying, "Don't talk to me, please." And that was the scene that we did. And it was, I don't know. What I think happened is that I chose to do it up rather than down so they could see my face. And the director at that time was Mario Azzopardi. He was the, I guess. Mario Azzopardi. Rasputin. And that started, and the day that I was shooting the scene, Brad Wright was on set, and he says, "Well, we're looking for this kind of a character," and it sort of built slowly from there. So that's how I got into the Stargate franchise.
Well, for me, it was about kind of the same thing. I walked in to an audition, walked onto the Bridge Studios, which is, I don't know if you guys have tried to bust your way into the Bridge Studios, but it can be difficult. Some people have succeeded, but anyway, I got in and went into the same kind of trailer, and it was sitting behind the desk in this tiny little space. You walk in through a door, and there's about 5 other guys sitting there with their resumes, and they're all... You too skinny to get this part, man. And so, you know, we all start flexing whatever we got to flex, and walk in through this little antechamber and through into this other tiny little room. And sitting behind the desk was Martin Wood. And yeah. And we'd never met before. And I gave the resume, introduced myself. You had a little X you had to stand on, stood there, said my words, and we just started chatting, and about 2 hours later my agent got a call, said, "You got the part," and that was for Palin and Revisions. And because of that, I ended up meeting Amanda, and it turned out we were neighbors. The three of us, Martin, Amanda, and I, were neighbors. We didn't know that at the time. We found that out through chatting. Anyway, long story short, we ended up doing Sanctuary and doing Atlantis, and so yeah, it was a wonderful day.
This question's for Todd. If Michael v. Todd SmackDown, what would happen? If Michael v. Todd SmackDown, what do you think would happen?
Oh, that's easy. Michael would be smacked down.
This question is actually for you, Chris. So you've done Stargate, you've also done, Sanctuary. We asked yesterday at the Sanctuary panel, Amanda, which one she preferred, but which one did you prefer?
Well, because I did Sanctuary or I did Stargate. Well, that is a hard one because they're so connected. And like I say, if I didn't do Stargate, I wouldn't be doing Atlantis. If I wasn't doing Stargate, I wouldn't be doing Sanctuary. So they're all one. And the great thing is that I think we said too in the panel that a lot of the same crew was working together. So it really is one big schmaltzy dysfunctional family, and we have a great time working together. So there really is no favorite. Yeah, cool.
My question is for Amanda. Nice shirt, by the way. While the Furlings were sort of introduced in the series, was there any talk by the writers for SG-1 to actually meet the Furlings?
They were sort of the big tease all the time, right?
Yeah.
Whether or not we would meet them. And it wasn't until was it the 200th or?
Yeah.
You guys know better than I do. That one show wherein we did, kind of. But it was kind of like a big tease, and we just kept going, please can we meet them, please can we meet them? So finally it was like that ultra special episode. And I said,
After that catch, it's you, man.
I guess since Lincoln gave me such a good throw, was the Russian sort of banters that you would go on during Atlantis, did you know what you were saying? Did you make it up?